everybody. This is Troy over at Uncomfortable Truths. Thanks for checking me out. So, today we have kind of an interesting story because Donald Trump just did a town hall with Laura Ingraham. And during this town hall, Laura Ingraham started throwing out some names of people that might be considered for Trump's running mate as VP. Now, a lot of these people I think we kind of expected and thought that, yeah, that makes sense to have, maybe Ron DeSantis on the list, or Vivek Ramaswamy's clearly been gunning for it. But there were also some people on that list that surprised me. And one candidate in particular, I think would be a huge electoral advantage, though it is maybe not the person that some other people have been suspecting. So I think that Tulsi Gabbard would give Trump an edge in the election for a couple of reasons. The first is that Tulsi Gabbard has already run for president on the Democratic side of things. So to accept her as the vice president would very much be kind of coming across as maybe a compromised candidate to say, hey, look, I'm willing to work with the other side when they're being reasonable. Because in recent years, Tulsi Gabbard has definitely distanced herself from the Democratic Party. She's been extremely critical of their policy. She's been extremely critical of their warmongering. She didn't like how they handled the catastrophe in Hawaii. And she has been more or less kind of supporting Trump. So she's a former congresswoman. She is a veteran. She's an officer in the military. So there's really a lot going for Tulsi Gabbard. And I think that there's actually a pretty strong argument to be made that people that are likely to vote for Tulsi Gabbard might be people that wouldn't necessarily be in a rush to go vote for Donald Trump. So what this does is this actually pulls support from the people on the left that are skeptical of Biden, the people that are maybe a little bit more progressive or independent minded, and they might actually be willing to say, hey, look, if he's willing to compromise on this and go the Tulsi Gabbard route, then, I might be more interested in voting for this guy. The only issue that I really have that makes me somewhat skeptical and nervous about Donald Trump actually going ahead and selecting, Tulsi Gabbard as a running mate is historically she has been a Democrat. She has, argued pretty heavily on the progressive side. So let's say, something horrible happens to Donald Trump and she were to take the presidency. Well, does this mean that all of a sudden she's going to, go and start working with Democrats, maybe on things that conservatives don't want to see? So I don't want to really downplay that threat, but I don't think that that's extremely likely for a couple of reasons. The first is that the Democratic Party completely cheated Tulsi Gabbard. They absolutely hated her. They didn't like her when she was in Congress. And I think her run for president really showed that they don't like her now. I mean, she was frankly curb stomping Kamala Harris during the debates with her. So I don't think there's any love lost between them. But she wouldn't be the only former Democrat on that ticket. And I think we can all agree at this point that Donald Trump has made it extremely clear that he is very conservative and that he governed in a very conservative manner that a lot of the base really liked. So I am, I guess, a little bit less concerned about Tulsi Gabbard being picked as the vice president than some of my other counterparts. But again, we will have to see. This certainly hasn't been decided. Though I do want to say there are a couple of people on this list that I think might not really bring much to the table. For one, I don't think that Ron DeSantis should be picked. The reason for not picking Ron DeSantis is I don't really think he brings much to the table electorally. So while I think he's actually been a pretty good governor, I think he did a fantastic job during the COVID shutdowns. He really handled the state quite well. I don't know that he really has anybody that he's going to bring to a Trump ticket that isn't already going to vote for Trump. Like, are there a lot of people that are going to say, well, I don't really want to vote for Donald Trump, but if you put Ron DeSantis on the ticket, then I'm all in? Well, I'm not super sure about that. I guess I'm a little bit more skeptical. And my biggest concern is making sure that we don't have, Joe Biden in there for another 4 years. And even worse than Joe Biden in a lot of ways is Kamala Harris. So to me, I think we have to look at this from maybe a more pragmatic view and say, well, maybe I don't pick the vice president that I think would be my, preferred person to take the presidency, but I take somebody that's actually going to help Donald Trump in the election. And for me, I think that person is likely going to be Tulsi Gabbard. Um, I do like Vivek Ramaswamy quite a bit, though I am a little bit confused as to why he was running, basically saying that you should vote for Trump, but I guess kind of vote for me because Trump might not win. Well, the people voting for Vivek are already almost certainly going to be voting for Donald Trump. So, just from an electoral perspective, I don't think that these other people are really bringing as much to the table. So, taking a look at the full list here, we had Ron DeSantis, Byron Donalds, Vivek Ramaswamy, Kristi Noem, and Tulsi Gabbard. And of course, Tim Scott, who Trump actually gave a little bit of flack to even during that interview. But honestly, I think the media is kind of running away with this being, a really shameful moment. It was pretty lighthearted. I don't really see what all the fuss was about. But I know that loyalty is extremely important to Donald Trump. However, I think that all of these people are likely going to fall in line with the Trump agenda. So we will just have to wait and see. And as soon as we get more information on it, we'll be right back here to cover it. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching today. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe. It helps the show out a ton. And we'll talk to you later. Take care, everybody.